Hi, my name is Danielle Hayes, and I'm the Public Information Manager for the Augusta, Georgia government. And I'm excited today to be joined by Mr. Scott Rountree, the Chief Appraiser for Augusta Richmond County. And we're going to talk about property valuations. How are you today, Scott?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm doing great. All right, so let's dive right into it. I know that folks will start to begin to receive their property valuations. So let's just start right at the top. What are property valuations?
So property valuations are an appraisal of property. Real estate and personal property are both types of property that we appraise in this office. The most people in this county will be receiving notices on their real estate, and those are notices that show values of the property as of January 1 of every year. So they are intended to reflect a true fair market value of that property.
And so how often does the county make these assessments?
So assessments are reviewed annually, and changes are made to those values whenever the market indicates that our values do not reflect what the fair market values are.
Mm-hmm. And how do these figures come? Is it computerized? How do you all come up with that?
It's a mixture of appraiser work and computer work. So the appraisers are actually reviewing the properties, analyzing sales, measuring new construction or any changes to property, and we measure the level of the assessment against sales that are actually occurring in the market. So we're comparing our tax values to what true fair market values are that are occurring in the market.
So when people receive these notices in the mail, what's outlined on these documents?
Sure. So when the notice is received, you will see information about what it is and why you're receiving it. It is not a bill, it is just a proposed value for the property for this tax year. It'll show last year's value, this year's value, any valuation that is associated with an exemption, for example, a homestead exemption, that can reduce your taxable value, and it'll give you an estimate of what the tax would be with last year's tax rates or millage rates. Also on that notice is a time frame for the property owner to file an appeal if they disagree with the value, if they disagree with the uniformity, or if they were denied any exemptions they feel like they're needing to have on the property. So that's an important thing to remember when you see it, that there's a 45-day period that is outlined on that notice that you can actually file an appeal on that assessment.
I'm sure there's someone watching, they're like, why do we even do this in the first place? How does this, what are the benefits? Why do we do this?
So the valuation of the property is directly tied to the property tax that's paid every year. And the reason we adjust it annually is to, one, make sure that it's close to the fair market value, but also to equalize values across the county so that majority of properties are paying their fair share in tax, mm-hmm. and it reflects what the fair market value of the property is.
And so going back to the documents, mm-hmm. I think it's really important for our residents to remember that when you get that document, mm-hmm. you have 45 days, there's a deadline on there.
Correct.
That you have. And if you want to protest the appraisal, you need to be aware of that deadline. Mm-hmm. So if someone wants to appeal,
okay, what
does that look like? How can they start that process?
So we'll have several methods available for property owners to file an appeal. On the notice, there will be a link to our website, and you can file an appeal online. You can also come into the office and file an appeal, or write a letter to the office to file an appeal. So as long as it's in writing and we get it through one of those methods, online, in writing, in person, even fax, that person can file an appeal through one of those methods.
Okay, so again, well, tell us the website. Where can they go?
AugustaRichmondTaxAssessor.com. You can also navigate to the county website and get to it through there.
And just to add to that, as Scott said, we'll have the information on the main website of the city, along with some Q&As that you might be able to get some questions answered in addition to watching this video. Thankfully, Governor Kemp, he did release some funds that can help some of our homeowners, our property owners. Tell us about that relief
Sure.
program.
So there's a property owners or a homeowner's tax relief grant. That's a one-time grant this current year. It is not going to be on the notice, but it will be on the property tax bill. Essentially what it does is if you have a homestead in place on your property, it will reduce the taxable value of the property by a pretty significant amount that for a lot of property owners could be saving them over $400 on their taxes this year.
Wow, okay. Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything left you might want to say that I didn't ask you about?
I think we covered appeals, and that's probably the most important thing, is to know that you do have the opportunity to protest this every single year, and we've got a staff here that's ready and engaged with the process and can answer any questions anybody has. If they want to call our office too when they get those notices, they can reach out to our main line at 706-821-2310. We can get them in touch with an appraiser or someone to talk them through what the valuation means.
Thank you, Scott.
Right.
And remember, residents, we are here to help you. We're here to help you navigate this year's property valuation. So again, thank you, Scott. Thank you to your team.
Thank you.
And thank you all very much for doing your part to help us move our great city forward. Take care.